Do you remember the Choose Your Own Adventure books? If not, there were a series of books where the reader got to be the star of the story and could actually make decisions throughout the book that led to different endings. Well, that's what this trail building series intends to do with you, the viewer. But instead of only you deciding where the adventure goes, my subscribers as a whole get to vote each week on how the story unfolds. I'm uncreatively naming this series Choose Your Own Trail. In the last chapter, you guys decided a small gap into a berm was our best option, and it definitely turned out great. When I had Brian over from the YouTube channel BKXC, he made it look too easy.
Actually, it is really good because it forces you to not pedal. You only focus on your momentum and your pump. It's a pump track.
Now at the end of that video, the options you had to choose from were a shark fin or another gap into a berm. And you guys actually surprised me and voted again for a gap to berm. And before we get started, I have to say a huge thanks to U-Haul because they're actually going to support this week's build and a few others, which is absolutely incredible. But more on that later. Let's get to this week's build.
There is a life I lead in this city, hurrying to cut my teeth. I can take what I need to get by. It doesn't make it easy. The other piece of my heart.
Since we had a bit of a downslope this time, I wanted to try using only dirt straight from the ground for these features, which oddly enough I haven't done yet. I do know Missouri has premium dirt for trail building, but I got a bit curious to see how quality the dirt is that I have, so I decided to do a mason jar soil test. Doing a soil test is super easy and actually kind of fun, so I encourage everyone to try this. Grab yourself a tall mason jar. Next, go to the area you want to test the soil from and fill your jar up. Then, find yourself an area where you can dump your soil out and sift through it. A picnic bench works great for this, or a table with some newspapers laid out. Sift through your soil, picking out any sticks, leaves, or debris. Then, after that, try and crumble up your dirt as fine as you can and refill your mason jar about a quarter to a third of the way full. If you've got a dog handy, they do a fantastic job smelling for debris you might have missed. Next, you'll fill your jar 3/4 of the way full with water, and then add a teaspoon of non-foaming dish detergent, which is most dish detergents. Once you're done with that, place a lid tightly on your jar and get to shaking. Try and shake it for about 5 to 10 minutes. You're trying to break up everything so that it's suspended in the water and it can settle nicely. Once it's shaken up, stick it somewhere and wait. Within a day or so, you'll be able to distinctly see the different layers of sand, silt, and clay, and that's when we can start getting into the math of it. But while we wait for my mason jar to settle, let's test this jump. And pardon my form, I'm just trying to land flat here. So we've got our landing pegged out right about here. I might even drag it a little further out. It seems like once you make your landing and you have something to actually aim for, you tend to be able to pull up a little more, and then you start to tilt into the landing and you can get a little further. A couple feet out, I'm gonna start digging down and we're gonna dig out this whole section. So I think most of the berm is gonna be just dug, and then I might add a little bit more coming up on the ledge, but yeah, I think I'm just gonna dig this whole section out. I think that would be really, really nice. Whew. Let's get to digging. Got a fun little snake here. I don't know how you guys do it. I am just coated. I feel like I just got out of the shower. It's so hot. Woo! Gotta keep digging. Gotta
gotta keep digging.
So I think we're done. Looks good, looks super flowy. Only concern I have is when we come out of this berm, kind of points you right towards a tree. So I'm gonna see what happens here. I'm gonna see if it is go-aroundable. I don't even know if I'm gonna be able to make this gap. I made it like a foot further than how far I was actually getting, assuming that I'd be able to like really pull up and get over to it. So yeah, let's see if I can even make this gap, hey? Oh boy. This one might take me a few tries. Shit. I know it doesn't look like much, but I've never really ridden anything like that. Yeah! That's fantastic. So I cased it a little bit, but I did make it, and I was going pretty slow, so yeah, that's awesome. All right, let's get this thing nailed. I never got to fully clear the gap on this day because it started to rain, but I did take advantage of the rain, making sure my drainage was working right. Needs a little cleaning out at the end, but it looks pretty dang perfect. Looks like we've got one little spot out fixing drainage issues. Fixed. I was also able to fine-tune our jumps while they were wet. After putting the finishing touches on the jump, I was ready to give it another go. I realized after looking at the footage, I was riding too low on the berm and not pumping through it like I needed to. So I tried to focus on that this time, and it actually worked. Woo! The new features you guys picked turned out great, and I'm still casing it a small amount, but that's the whole point. I need to get better at jumping and cornering, and this is going to help me with that. And for those of you who want to know, the gap is 6 feet, and lip to lip, it's 7 feet. Now, as much as I love these new features, I'm so excited to show you guys what I have to choose from for next week. But before we do, you know I have to say a huge, huge thank you to U-Haul for supporting this week's video. Did you know U-Haul actually sells bike racks? I didn't, but when they reached out to me, I realized they have almost any bike rack you can think of online, and they all ship free. Plus, if you want to check out some of the bike racks, they actually stock a lot of them in their stores, and I'm willing to bet you've got one nearby. So if you're in the market for a new bike rack or just want to try out something different, head over to your local U-Haul today or check out the link in my description to browse their huge selection online. Okay, it's time to choose your own trail. Option 1 is to come out of the berm into a banked wooden drop feature that heads into a big dirt landing. Sounds pretty cool to me. But option 2, we could keep the trail dirt and build a long roller that would probably go into the biggest gap I've ever ridden, which is anything over 8 feet. So option 1 is a banked wooden drop, and option 2 is a dirt roller to gap. I gotta say, I would absolutely be stoked to build either of these options, so I'm excited to see what you guys decide on. You can either click this link here to vote, go to my link in the description, or head to backyardtrailbuilds.com/vote. Anyway, thank you guys so much for voting and watching. A giant thank you to my patrons for supporting me. This channel could not operate without you, so again, thank you. Oh, and if you're wondering about the soil, it didn't actually settle down enough because I just did it yesterday. So we'll have to check that out next time when we build the next feature. So go cast your votes now, and I will see you then. Good boy. Good boy. You did a good job, buddy. You did a good job, huh? You did a great job, bud. Thanks for the help.